Well, hey, welcome to part 3 of this series, The Space Between. Throughout this series, we've been asking a question. If we set our priorities to achieve the best, why is it that when tragedy strikes, our priorities change? And further, why do we wait for tragedy to readdress our priorities? Now, today we're going to be looking at the space between your pocket and the couch. Back in my days in youth ministry, we get calls about free couches to come pick up, and hey, we take them up on the offer. But as soon as we did pick up these couches, we'd hear them start to rattle. And as we tilted them over to get them out of the door or down the hall of the home, sure enough, treasures would begin falling out everywhere. And I learned early on some words of wisdom for all of you. If anything ever goes missing, best place to check first is the cracks in the couch. Hey, if you find what you're looking for, it'll make you happy. The question in life becomes, what is it exactly are we looking for to make us happy? Oftentimes we associate money with happiness, which is where we are here today. Some researchers back in 2008, 2 from Harvard, 1 from the University of British Columbia, began this research to see what is it that really makes people happy. To get it all started, they polled and asked, what is it that would make people happy? And sure enough, the answer was, to have the means, the resources, the ability to get all that I want to get. And we know that all comes down to having enough money. Now, the crazy thing is that research before this showed that's not the case, that happiness doesn't come from actually getting everything you want. In fact, some of the research said that happiness comes from giving stuff away. And other research said that the more you give away, the happier you will be. This is totally contrary to the way we often live life. So these professors got together and began the research. They called in a group of folks, had them all gather in a room and asked them how happy they were. Once they told how happy they were, he wrote it down and said, all right, here's the deal. We're going to give some of you $5 and some of you $20. And then looked at the groups and divided them out. Some of the folks with the $5 or $20 were told to go take this money, spend it on yourself. Whatever it is you want to get, buy it today and come back and see us. The other group of folks that said, hey, here's $5, $20. Go take it out there and spend it on someone else. At the end of the day, come back in here and tell us how you feel. And sure enough, they did. And sure enough, the answers were exactly what they had learned before. That the ones who spent their money on someone else were happier than the ones who had spent it on themselves. And the crazy thing was, it didn't matter if you had $5 or $20 to spend on someone else. Just the fact that you got to spend money on someone else made people happy. Therefore, how people spent their money was more important than how much money they had. And further research found that when you give to get, you'll be highly disappointed. There's something about giving in order to get something for yourself that just doesn't work out. In fact, today what we're going to do is take a look at Proverbs and Philippians to see if we can find out what does it really take in life to be happy. Now in Proverbs chapter 30, we read these words. 2 things I ask of you, Lord. Do not refuse me before I die. Keep falsehood and lies far from me. Give me neither poverty nor riches, but give me only my daily bread. Just 2 things I ask. And one of them is, keep poverty and riches far from me. Now, why is that? Well, he answers the question. Otherwise, I may have too much and disown you and say, who is the Lord? Or I may become poor and still, and so dishonor the name of my God. See, at either extreme, I am just bound to get it wrong. And Paul goes on to write about this, but Paul has a little bit of a different perspective. I mean, come on, do we really know in life when we have too much or when we have too little? Here's what Paul writes. I've learned to be content, whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. Paul says, look, I've been there. I've had the times in my life when I didn't have enough. And I've had the times in my life when I've had more than enough. All right, Paul, so what's the secret? And I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed and hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. All right, so reveal the secret for us. And here it is. I can do all this through Him who gives me strength. Paul says, here's the deal. It's no longer focused on me. It's not about what I have or don't have, what I achieve or can't achieve. It's about this contentment that's found as a gift from God. Which brings us to the question, why are people who serve and sacrifice time and money really happier than those who seem to earn so much, get so much, and make it so far in life. And I think there's only one reason. It's because it's who God created us to be. God created us to begin giving, to realign our lives with the very people He created us to be in the first place. So, don't give expecting something in return, even a really good feeling, because if you do, you're bound to be disappointed, which begs the question, why is it so hard to get to that point? Why are we so easily tricked into thinking that achieving, making money, getting so far in life, getting a name known despite the cost will be satisfying? Now that's a great question for y'all to talk about. I hope you and your group enjoyed the discussion as we continue to look at the space between money and happiness.